Sup, Buzznet? In reference to the podcast, here in yet again a different recording position.
I don't know how this one's going to turn out either.
I think we were good. I don't know why we changed from... I think maybe because we had to sit sideways and stare at each other and...
Probably.
Just... wasn't good for the neck. I am Amanda.
I'm Heather.
Brody is behind us.
Is he?
Well, he was, yep. Staring at us like, why are you sitting at that table that is a storage unit?
For slime. Paint. Yeah.
Alright, so we're here with a Freaky Friday.
It's Freaky Friday.
Yes, that's normally your bit.
Freaky Friday.
You normally say what day, but you weren't.
I'm not on it today.
What are you on today?
I have no idea.
What are we learning about?
We're going to learn about Port Arthur.
In Australia, but spelt like an American would spell it.
How would a non-American spell it?
I don't know, but when I was typing it out, I said spelt normally, and you said, yeah, even though it's in Australia.
Oh. They probably wouldn't have spelled it any different anyway.
I don't know,
Unless they put an E on port. Porte.
Well, they could have done that, or like Melbourne.
Oh, that's fair.
Isn't there an R in Melbourne?
It's spelt Melbourne.
Yeah, my point. Sorry, I shouldn't. We have Australia listeners.
But there is a Melbourne somewhere in the United States.
Yeah, duh, because that's how it should be said. I don't like sitting across from you.
Why, because you have to look at me?
Yeah, pretty much.
Thanks.
I mean, you said it.
That's fair.
Here we go. Yawning already. Alright.
Alright.
We have 12 episodes to record today.
Roll it out.
Autobots.
Autobots, roll out. Alright. My sources are Wikipedia, paranormalinvestigating.com, realparanormalexperiences.com.
As opposed to fake.
Yeah. That was the last one. I forgot an and in there.
That's okay.
There's only 3. Okay. Port Arthur is located on the Tasmanian Peninsula in Australia. I almost said Tasmanian Devil.
I didn't know there was a Tasmanian peninsula. I always thought Tasmania was...
Well, it's like a whole, like...
I know, but I thought it was in Africa.
Oh, no.
Is there one in Africa? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Me saying I don't know was imitating you saying it because I knew that's exactly what you were going to say.
I'm not strong in geography.
Nope, but you did learn something new today.
I learned all kinds of new things today.
We weren't watching Jeopardy today. It was Cash Cab. I think I like Jeopardy better.
Yeah. Way better.
Yeah.
Alright. It is southeast of Australia. In 2006, the population was 499, and it dropped to 251 as of the 2016 census.
Good Lord, where are they all going?
Well, in Australia, most of the people just live on, like, the outside. Like, the whole inside's just the outback.
Yeah.
They're just leaving. Maybe they died. I don't know.
This was on a peninsula.
The peninsula is still connected to the land.
Yes, I understand. I know those types of terms.
You didn't know what an archipelago was today.
No, I did not. I still don't know what the fuck it is. But I know what a peninsula is. So I don't get what you're saying about them living on the outside. Because they could live on the outside of a peninsula.
No, I mean, like, Australia.
Yeah.
On the map, there's still a part of Australia, but it's on, like, a little island that Tasmania is part of.
Okay, well, then that's not a peninsula.
No, the peninsula comes off the island.
But where are the people going?
They're going somewhere else.
That's all I want to know. And you're like, well, they live on the outside. Okay. That doesn't. Wow,
Oh my
we're
god,
loud.
this derailed so fast.
All I want to know is why the population was basically cut in half. And you're just like, well, they live on the outside. The inside is the outback. Okay.
I don't know. They just left.
Okay. I mean, just
They went elsewhere.
delete all of that
Yeah,
because
Just
I'm
stop
not going to
where.
have listeners after this.
Alrighty.
Alright, so the population was cut in half. Roughly in half.
Yeah. But Port Arthur was named after George Arthur, who was the lieutenant governor of Van Diemen's Island. Diamonds? It's literally spelled die-men.
Diamond. Diamond.
In-
Sorry, Australian listeners. Go
Okay, in
for it.
1830, it started as a timber station, but is best known for being a penal colony, which is a settlement used to exile prisoners to separate them from the rest of the population, which is usually a remote location or an island. From 1833 to 1853, it was home to the hardest convicted British criminals. Port Arthur also had some of the strictest security measures of the British prison system. The prison was completed in 1853, but was extended in 1855. The design of the prison was pretty symmetrical. It was a cross shape with exercise yards at each corner. The prison wings were all connected to the surveillance hub of the prison, which was also the chapel.
Because God was watching over.
Yes.
Okay.
From the hub, each wing could clearly be seen, but not the individual cells. They also shifted from physical punishment to psychological.
Great.
The corporal punishment, such as whipping, was thought to serve hardened criminals, but did nothing to deter them from their immoral ways. Food was used to reward well-behaved prisoners and to punish troublemakers.
Good.
The silent system was implemented, which meant that prisoners were hooded and forced to stay silent, supposedly so they would have time to reflect why they were there. A good bit developed mental illnesses from the lack of lights and sound,
Yeah, no shit.
which would be to be expected. The peninsula where Port Arthur is located is a naturally secure site, being surrounded by water, and the administration rumored that it was shark infested. The 30-meter or 98-foot wide strip of land that was the only connection to the mainland. It was fenced and guarded by soldiers, man-traps, and half-starved dogs.
Great.
So, they pretty much made them terrified to even...
Blink.
Yeah. Port Arthur was sold as an inescapable prison like Alcatraz, though some inmates still try to escape. The most famous escape attempt was that of George Billy Hunt. He disguised himself using kangaroo hide and tried to flee. The guards on duty were half-starved and soon tried to shoot him to get more food. When he realized what they were going to do, he threw the hide off and surrendered, receiving 150 lashes.
Good. Great. Good.
Which, at that point, I probably would have just took the shot. And
I said it when I was doing my research. I just don't know where these people have the will to keep going, because...
Because, like, getting whipped 150 times, like, I would pass. That'd be horrible. Just getting whipped once would hurt.
Unless you're into that kind of thing.
Which I'm not, so it would not end well. The prison also housed juvenile boys, some as young as 9. They were kept separate from the rest of the prisoners. Even though the prison had a reputation of being a pioneering institute...
Wait, isn't this where some of the hardest criminals are being housed, and then they have 9-year-olds here, too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Unless they're really bad 9-year-olds.
I guess, I mean, I'm not saying 9-year-olds can't be bad. I just
It's a little much.
don't know if they're that bad.
Even though it had It had a reputation for being a pioneering institution for the new enlightened view of imprisonment. It was as harsh and brutal as other penal colonies. It was said that they were worse because of the psychological punishments and no hope of escape. There were tales that inmates committed murder, which was punishable by death just to escape the life at the prison.
Good.
The Isle of the Dead was the final destination for all who had died at the camp. It is a cemetery on an island adjacent to Port Arthur. There are 1,646 graves said to exist there, but only those that were prison staff and military personnel were marked, which is only around 180.
Wow.
So the rest of them are just
there.
Are not even marked.
Wow.
The prison closed in 1877, which at least it didn't last that long. After the prison closed, most of the property was put up for auction. Most remained unsold until around 1889. The area began to increase in popularity, and the prison building was decaying. People saw the state the prison was in and thought that it was a good thing because they wanted to distance themselves from the dark image of Port Arthur. There were fires in 1895 and 1897 that destroyed the old prison house. The town was eventually renamed Carnarvon to encourage people to come visit. The town brought visitors and encouraged boating, fishing, and shooting in the natural beauty of the peninsula.
They're like, just a quick rename will fix everything.
Nobody's gonna remember what we did here.
Shit. No.
In 1916, the Scenery Preservation Board was established to take over managing the town. In 1927, tourism had grown to the point that the name of the town was reverted back to Port Arthur because they wanted to remember the history.
Why?
Why do people want to relive the Civil War down south?
I mean, okay. I don't know that those two are comparable, but...
That's true. But, like, Alcatraz is still a thing, and if it was just as bad.
Yeah.
By the 1970s, the National Parks and Wildlife Service began to manage the site. The mass graves on the Isle of the Dead also attract many visitors. Some say that it is very tranquil.
Is it, though?
It would be dead silent.
I guess.
I would probably be creeped out, because you don't know, like, where they're buried at.
Yeah.
To this day, Port Arthur is one of Australia's best-known historical sites with over 250,000 visitors a year. The site will be affected by rising ocean levels due to global warming. This problem is spotted all over southern Australia.
Fake news. Also, sorry, Brody will not listen to me and not chew his bone behind us. He doesn't care.
Nope. On April 28, 1996, the Port Arthur tourist location was site of a killing spree. 35 were murdered, 23 wounded before the perp was captured. I was going to go more in depth with this, but I didn't. Because it seemed interesting, and I didn't know if maybe that was something you might want to do someday.
You could have done it.
Yeah, that would have been like a whole thing. 'Cause it like looked like it spelled out like his entire day.
Interesting.
So, on to some paranormal sightings. Reports of activity date back as far as 1870. As of 2014, there has been over 2,000 sightings. Experiences have included full-bodied apparitions, feeling nauseated, being touched, scratched, and EVPs.
It's just, why do they have to touch people? I don't understand.
They're like, oh, look what I can do.
Yeah, no, I don't need that.
Some has felt as though they were being strangled by unseen hands and later found that they had multiple scratches around their neck.
No.
No?
No. Just stop it. It's not fine.
It's not fine.
Okay, go on.
On April 20th, 1867, an inmate named William Carter hung himself in his cell. Many have been overcome with strong feelings of sadness and despair when visiting his cell.
Yeah, I get that.
Which would make sense. I'd be concerned if you went in there and didn't.
Yeah.
There are sightings of a woman in blue who is said to be the ghost of a woman who was once married to a Port Arthur accountant. She is said to wear a crinoline dress, which is a dress with a stiffened skirt under it designed to hold the dress out. She also wears a bonnet. It has been said that her and her baby died during childbirth, and she is looking for her child.
Oh. So don't take any children there, because she'll take them. Okay, great.
That's a bit of a leap.
I mean, is it though?
No, you never know.
Exactly. I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm not saying I'm right.
A visitor to Port Arthur had collapsed and was treated for severe shock. She said that she saw a figure stagger towards her. She described he looked half dead with bruises and blood all over him.
Yeah, I would probably have needed treated for shock then.
Like, I also feel like I would never want to see a full-bodied apparition because I would probably lose my mind.
My mind's lost already.
There are claims that at night you can sometimes hear the screams of a young boy as he was executed.
How
Apparently.
young are we talking?
It didn't say how young.
I don't like that.
So maybe some of the 9-year-olds were as bad as we thought.
They're just babies.
Disembodied laughter of children and the sounds of them running up and down the steps can be heard.
Nope.
Sometimes you can even hear them singing.
Nope. No, I cannot. No, ma'am.
That's like one thing that would gives you chills. Like the laugh, like kids laughing when there's nobody around.
I mean, kids. Period. Just give me the chills.
But like, especially if like there's none near you and you hear them laughing.
Yeah.
Ghostly faces of children can be seen peering out of windows.
Yeah, they don't need to be doing that shit either.
They're just playing peekaboo.
No, they're not. That's what they want you to think they're doing.
In the basement where the doctor would perform autopsies, visitors have passed out and complained of severe pain. Cameras have also malfunctioned while being used in the basement.
Of course.
One man on a ghost tour said that he saw the outline of a human face through his camera. He said the person dressed in convict clothing came out of a wall, looked around at everyone in the room, and then disappeared. Later, he had found that the footage had disappeared from the video.
Convenient.
Lastly, there was a visitor that took back-to-back photos in one of the houses. In the first, the curtains are closed. In the second, there is a face of a small ghostly girl peeking from slightly open curtains. The photos were examined and deemed authentic and untampered. That's why, like, sometimes I'm afraid, like, when we, like, go somewhere that is historic and I take pictures, like, I'm always like, I don't want to look at them again. Just in case there's something in them.
Yeah. I don't know, I had to be in the mood. Like, I was definitely in the mood whenever we were looking at our pictures from Gettysburg.
Yeah.
Like I said to that guy on the ship, if something touches me, you're gonna fucking know, because...
I'm gonna be running.
Yeah, my ass doesn't run, but...
It would have that day.
Yes, ma'am, it would have. So that's Port Arthur.
That's Port Arthur.
Until Murder Monday, which talk about Joseph Callinger on Murder Monday. But until then, you can find us on Instagram at In Reference To Podcast, on Twitter, that is sometimes updated, at In Reference To.
You can send us an email on any topics you want us to cover or any true crime, paranormal stories at In Reference To podcast at gmail.com.
Yep. And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/inreference2. Not only would you support us, but you'd support Wikipedia. So, yay, Wikipedia. Actually, though, a lot of mine, I did not use Wikipedia for this time.
A lot of mine I did.
So, yeah. Until next time.
Ta-da!